abbreviated intro right into the action. We were going to do this anyways, even though Canada won the women's under 20 CONCACAF Championship. This was planned. This was planned beforehand. We have the wonderful AC Lang from wsoccer.ca. If you haven't gone to the website, all things WOSO Canada, player charts, newsletter. The newsletter just dropped.
Today, yeah.
All right. So if you haven't already, sign up for that. Go to her website, drop your email, get it, because why not make her do 1,000 more things that she loves to do as well? Why not? But AC, we are coming off the backs of watching Canada win the U20 championships on the women's side, the first time in 17 years. In a game that wasn't stressful at all. It was calm, relaxing. No expletives were thrown at screens or at anything like that. But talk to me about your experience watching that game, because for me, it was great to see them finally win in an era, which we'll talk about, of, I think, emerging talent at that youth level for Canada.
Yeah, I personally haven't seen them win anything since I started paying closer attention to the youth program. So yeah, it's definitely a first for me as well. We have seen them lose a lot, so we kind of got used to that. It's nice to be on this side of the feeling. I posted a meme that's like Troy from Community being like, my emotions. That kind of summed it up perfectly, because it was so much back and forth. Like anything that could happen in a soccer game happened. And first and foremost, I was really impressed by the team's cohesion, their work rate, and their just willingness to die out there for each other. They were working hard. They played so many games in a row. They went to 120. It was really, really impressive. The depth was really helpful too. So it was a good feeling.
That is something I think stood out to me. I've watched, I think, Sydney Thai U20 teams the last 3 cycles. So 2022, 2023, and then here in 2025. And I think this was probably, for me, a cycle where I think her pulse on the game, using her bench, getting in tune with those. I think this was her best usage, her best managed game I've seen her in a bit. And like you said, those girls were playing faster. I think I noticed it against the US. They just seemed like they were a step faster. They were physical when they had to be physical. They were anticipating when they had to be anticipating. And they get the goal eventually in that game. But from that game on, going to Mexico, the run that they go through, losing to Mexico in the rain at the end of the group stage, then being the US, and then honestly a game of the ages against Mexico again. I think it speaks to Ty and her coaching, but also speaks to the group that we have here, which is ultimately every time you see a U20 team, it's always a conversation of can't wait to see them on a team in a couple of years. But I just honestly loved the effort and everything there. Do you have any standouts that you had for the tournament? Because to me, I think there's a clear standout, but then I think there's a pair that deserve some accolades, at least for me.
Yeah, I mean, we have a major award winner, right? Noelle Henning, goalkeeper, Golden Glove Award. So you definitely can't discount that. She made a lot of good saves, made a lot of crucial saves, and she was really leading from the back. You could see kind of in her body language and the vocal leadership that she was displaying. And she's actually still pretty young. She just turned 18, so it's good to see her confident. There's going to be a spot opening up when the Welland legend Sabrina D'Angelo retires, right? So
she can do no wrong in my eyes. So go
100%, 100%. So Noelle was good. Annabelle Chukwu was another clear one. She had the most shots in the whole tournament, 25. They'd only score 5 of them. I think the commentator was kind of harping a little bit on her finishing and not leaning on the ball, over the ball enough. But either way, she showed up in the big moments. And then my pair, I'm curious to see who yours are, but my pair was Tegan Mellenhorst. I thought she balled out, absolutely crushed it. So many touches in the final. She played a lot of football, got a lot of touches, a lot of key passes, whole tournament. And then I really liked Olivia Chisholm, who was playing kind of the more defensive role in midfield to kind of balance out Mellenhorst. And so I thought that was a really good balance. She looked mature. She's pretty young too. She's not close to 20 either. So it's good to see a quality 6. And I think that's probably what made the biggest difference. to me in the past, like we've had teams just panic and kind of kick the ball along when it got tough, and there was a few tough moments, but they kept the ball on the carpet, and I think those two midfielders helped a lot. And I would shout out more, but you said two, so I'll stop at two.
Like I won't pick your two because that would just be easy. But I mean, what else can you say about those players, right? Annabelle Chukwu, what hasn't been said about her so far, right? We've said pretty much everything. Melonhorse is a good shout, and it continues the theme of there are siblings. The Canadian program are just siblings, right? Kira wins futsal gold with the Canadian team, and then Tegan is winning gold for. So all
It's a
the
golden
siblings.
family.
If we can get some more siblings, maybe some more twins. I'm gonna leave that there. Possibly. Let me dream. To me, Jeanette Okiki, Ebo Ching in the back. Honestly, that it I can't send enough appreciation posts for them, but they were rocks back there. They clearly ran out of gas at the end of the Mexico game, but it felt like they played every minute of every game, and they were solid. They had the energy. When I talk about being first to balls, cutting off, especially in that US game, they were cutting off angles. They were stepping in front of crosses. They were being physical when they needed to. It goes unnoticed because, again, the goals are the goal scorers and they get those. Another name, honorable mention, Jadea Collin, I think, ran until she couldn't run. I think she was out of gas by the end of the first half against Mexico. But
She had so many
those
touches in the first half. She had like a top three touches in the whole game, even though she played less than half of it.
exactly, she was involved as she needed to be, and I think those three, honestly, those get shouts. Now I'm just naming
Now it's just
players.
everyone,
I
everyone for me. I'm
know.
gonna give a shout out to U Sports, Sienna
Yes,
Gibson,
honestly, true. Honestly,
absolutely, right?
Sienna
Like
Gibson, perfect. Yes.
UBC rookie MVP of the U Sports Championship. Finally, a player gets a little bit of a look with the national team from a
Mm,
U Sports program, and that's exciting to me. And she played amazing. Like, what a midfielder! Such a high work rate. First of all, the whole team is so fit. I don't know how they did
yes.
this. And maybe it's because they had more preparation than usual. We did have more
Mm.
preparation than usual. Funny how then you go and win the tournament after you're allowed to prepare. And so but they looked so fit. I was like,
Mhm.
how are you guys still going?
Honestly, that's a thing. That was a staple of the program, especially at the U17 level. Like I don't know who's gonna take over that, but with like previous coaches and stuff, they were always fit. Like the one thing you knew about Canada's teams is if they don't have the ball, they're just gonna press you to death because they're gonna keep running. Like that's what they're going to do. So it was great to see that translated. Again, I think more time does help. It is always the age-old question: is there value for them playing those qualification rounds versus going straight to the final? I think it helped, but again, giving them camps, giving them friendlies where they can actually play, get some cohesion going, and camp fitness, I think it worked very well. So honestly, that goes. I'm trying to name all the players, but like all of you ladies, y'all played well. We didn't name all of you because ADHD mind here, but you guys honestly were amazing. But I wanted the reason why we had you here was specifically talking about youth players coming up, right? We before during this weekend, I basically decided I was going to start watching old U20 games from Canada because what else am I going to do in my spare time? I loved it because we had Canada play Haiti on the women's senior side. So I was like, oh, Olivia Smith. Let me watch Olivia Smith as a U20 player. Nope, still a bully, still that determination. But like you look at the teams coming through, and it's interesting. I messaged this to you earlier, right? That 2022 U20 team kind of gets buried because the U17s were amazing that year. That's when that's the team that's led by Rosa Malouf. Then she gets injured before the World Cup. Then we're introduced to Annabelle Chukwu, and Annabelle Chukwu has not left she's not left our minds since. But
No.
that U20 team gets buried because they went to the World Cup and then they didn't have their strongest World Cup and they were gone. But if you look at that roster have not only been getting call ups to the national team, like they are starting to produce there. And it's like, why are we just that short sighted when we're watching teams and players where It's at a World Cup. And yes, some countries and some clubs will just scout a World Cup and say, great, they're doing well. Or, oh no, they didn't do well. And as usually happens in Canada, we have a national crisis where we start arguing about youth development, which is a problem, but it's not fair to judge a whole generation based off of 10 days of competition. But in your opinion, when you look at that U22, U20 side in 2022, there are players who are staying up, but why is it that they tend to get buried, I guess?
Honestly, I started looking back at the rosters too because this is really interesting to me. Cindy Ty still coach. Okay, so she has been actually been around for a while now too. But I remember when I first started tracking players in 2021, like the professionals, and I had gone back to previous U20 rosters and U17 rosters, and I was going through them and being like, okay, who's still playing, like who's active, and you had maybe like 50% max that were now professionals. But if you look at the recent rosters for our U20s in 2022, 2023, like there's so many quality pros. Look at Anna Karpenko, NSL, Zoe Burns playing in France, Mia Pente, just a little club called Roma, Jade Rose. We all know about Jade Rose. Leslie, now playing pro in the NSL, just joined Halifax, Bassett, Brooklyn Court. Like literally I could go on. It's almost all of them. It's only the younger ones who are still in school that haven't gone pro yet. So there's been a big evolution in the professional side of it. The NSL is helping a lot already, I think. And so I think if you just think about the environment that those players were in at the time and kind of the prospects, they were not quite as developed as they are now. Now we have much bigger platform for them to really have longer careers and even strive for that, right? And so I think we're seeing the quality through that. And then I know people always say we have a youth development program, certainly at World Cups, like we haven't performed up to the task in quite some time. I don't know if we have a youth development problem. I think we have a flawed system that is relatively narrow and it does miss a lot of people, but we do produce a lot of world-class players, at least a few per generation. And I think it's the Canadian inferiority complex once again hitting us hard, saying like our system's not that bad. It's actually has worked pretty well. And just because a certain cycle didn't do well the national team doesn't mean that is not a good generation.
Agreed. And like you even mentioned the young players. The young players on that 2022 side are a little known player by the name of Olivia, middle name Smith, and Florian George. Like Olivia Smith is the young player on that side, and she plays a year collegiate, then goes pro. And it's like, okay, cool. And I think for me, I think because the U17 team that year was also just it was like, what's this Annabelle Chukwu? What is this? What's Ella Ati? Can I have some more, please? There's another Rose sister. Let's bring her in as well. And I think there's a degree of it because they didn't perform well at the World Cup. They got the national conversation, and I say national, it was really Twitter yelling at each other. But I think and again, I'm excited for the 2023 U20s because that U17 crop is going to be great. But it's funny how when you look at them, you think, oh, Simia Wujo came up from that squad, and we sometimes forget it's like, oh, that team wasn't good. No, Jade Rose, Simia Wujo are regular contributors, if not borderline starters on this senior team already. But it's development isn't linear, something I always say, and you have to be patient with that. With the NSL right now, you're giving more players platforms. Another player from that side, Nikayla Small, to me, I think she's knocking on that door to get that call up based off how her play is. And without the league, are we having that conversation about her? Maybe she's playing pro somewhere else, but we now get to see it. We now get to see, okay,
every week.
Nikayla, exactly. And for me, that's the great thing. A player who didn't play at the U20s, Kaylee Hunter, has played the U17s this year, played at the U20s, would have played if she wasn't injured. We get to see it firsthand. We get to be excited about it. And it's thrilling. We're gonna get into a point where, because it's funny, one of the when I put up my reaction to the game, someone from I'm assuming he's American was just like, well, the Americans didn't have 7 or so players here, so it's a thing to keep in mind. It's like, true. And then I thought to myself, AC, we might get to that point in like 3 or 4 or 5 years where it's just, yes, we want to send our best side, but AFC Toronto says we're going to keep these players because we need them for the club, and then we're going to look and say, well, our team made it here, but look at these other prospects that are doing well in this league. We have given players the platform, and we've given players options, and that to me is something we've always needed. Give them opportunities, whether they want to go all the way to the top leagues or a place where they can apply the craft at home. Give them the opportunity to play, and it's exciting. We've gone on a rant here, but it's the beauty
Yeah.
of this, because there's just so much joy with it. But U20 2023 to 2025, are there names here that excite you based off what you're seeing and those U20 teams?
All of them. Also, back to the American guy, we still would
Mhm.
have beat you. It was just time. Like you could see it. It was so cohesive. They were always gonna outfight, I think, the
Mhm.
Americans. So just saying to whoever replied that. But yeah, who I got my eye on. If we're looking at the 2023 group, certainly they were like younger when they competed, yeah, at least in the
Yeah.
CONCACAF Championship. So you've got, like, for example, Caleb Briggs you have on that squad. Hernandez Gray was on that squad too.
Right.
Noel Henning, Renee Watson, they were all in that squad. Rosa Malouf, please come back. I don't know what you're doing in Texas, but like imagine she also reaches her full potential. Like good luck to the whole
Mhm.
generation of forwards that is currently kind of, holding down those spots because these people are coming for you.
No, and that I think is one of the things that I'm realizing, right? Even if you don't even factor in the 2025s who are here, right? You're seeing these players start to push through. Julia Perro from the U20, from the 2023s. I'm going to say this wrong, guys. I'm sorry. She gets a professional contract. She's out in Europe starting to develop and show that. Geneva Hernandez Grace, you mentioned. Caleb Briggs is from this generation. Holly Ward, another one from 2022. They're starting to come. And we are about to enter a fun time with this national team at the senior level where there is a wave of young players coming. We have established players who are there. We could start to have conversations about the makeup of our 23 to 26. FIFA, just make it 26 players, please. Just for my sake, please. I'd appreciate it. But when we could have serious roster conversations with these players if they continue to develop as they are, and that to me is exciting. Minus Sabrina D'Angelo, she'll be on the team for.
Forever.
She's my Christine Sinclair. She is my goat, well and goat forever. Stay on that team forever.
Number
I
one.
I don't know where they put her retirement match, but if it could be anywhere near Welland, I'd appreciate it. I really would.
Put it at the
Um,
Roma pitch.
can we fit like a solid 1,000 folks at the Roma pitch?
Let's
Ah,
go.
well, that would be fun. But man, when you look at that, I don't. There was a plan for this conversation, and now I'm just feeling happy because
It's
we
great.
have we have programs, unrelated but related. I was really excited for the NSL because I thought it'd be the perfect stepping stone for Sydney Ty to take. Do you think she ever leaves collegiate and goes pro, or do you think she's at a
I don't
level
think
that
so.
she really likes?
That's a pretty cushy job at Dal. I think she
Yeah.
is also in charge of the sports administration
Oh, true.
in some way. I
Mhm.
believe there might be someone fact check that for me. I'm sorry, Cindy, if that's wrong. But she has a pretty good life on the
Mhm.
East Coast. I mean, if Halifax keeps doing what they're doing and it's like, oops, we gotta part ways, maybe that's a thought for her. But I
Mhm.
do get the sense that she's gonna stay out on the East Coast and kind of continue to make impact on the levels that she's been making them. And then I honestly, she seems like the kind of coach who would like move on after this cycle for the U20s to like give other people a chance to coach. I don't know if I'm misreading her personality, but
Mhm.
that also seems like something she would do. So I'm not sure if she'll go uh, coaching in the NSL, but I would also be here for it. She would be one of the best ones right away.
It's interesting because we just had Casey Stoney added to her staff, and some of the staff that they added had experience in youth coaching. And to me, I was like, Maybe that's the U17 coaching opportunity. Maybe that's U20s. I'm curious to see how they kind of build that program out now. Like with Bev, you had Emma Humphreys there, you had Ty there, you had Mander at the U15. So there was a cycle, there was a pathway moving. I wonder how Stoney wants to build that out now. Does she want the team playing in her? Did you want them playing Stony ball, or are we going to be just developing players and saying kind of going from different levels? I think that's a curious kind of look to it for me.
Yeah, I guess they have over a year to figure it out because the World Cup is not till later next year. So, I mean, the group's going to hopefully get a lot of time working together on the pitch, off the pitch, in the lead up, and hopefully we can have like one of our best youth World Cups in a while because that would be really, really fun if we could nail that.
No, for sure, because there's that. Then there's the U17s who will play, and that'll be curious to watch what they do this year as well with the new. How do you? I don't think I've ever asked you this. How do you feel about the new FIFA format going yearly World Cups now for at the U17 level at least?
I mean, I don't know why they did it. FIFA always feels like they did it for money. So then if they did it for money, then I don't feel good about it. Maybe every 2 years would have been okay. I think that tournament really means a lot to the young athletes competing in it, and the visibility, of course, does help. But I think for the most part, it's mainly a beneficial like development opportunity rather than an exposure opportunity for most athletes. So like really know what it's like to be at that level of preparing for an intense tournament, etc. But yeah, I guess I have no real hot takes on it.
I think they missed the ball on doing one thing. They expanded the men's U20 or the U17 to 48 teams. And I was like,
48 teams.
Yeah. But then they only bumped up the U17 girls to 24. And my hot take is you could have at least bumped them up to 32.
Yeah,
You could
24
at
is
least put
awkward.
them yeah, because 24, you're still working with third place spots and
Yeah.
best third place. So
Just
I'm
go
like, you could have
32.
you should just gone straight 32. And then, because if you're going to do it, the other thing I like is it's Morocco. Morocco right now is doing a very good job in terms of putting into their game, both on the men's and women's side. We have our takes about how they put in and coaches they've hired, but I think I've liked in the infrastructure and the building of it, so I like it. But to me, I think it was a great opportunity where they could have just said 32 teams, let's just do it. But that's just 24 for U17s and U20s, which yes opens it up on the U17 side, but 32 is just staring right at you. It doesn't affect you at all, but I feel they could have
Opportunity
worded it better
missed.
well. Agreed.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see from there. Before we go, any last thoughts on youth programs, youth things, anything Canada? We've won something, and
You know
hopefully,
what?
yeah.
We've won 2 things, futsal and the U20s. Let's see what comes next. I'm feeling like a third one. Oh, the Pinatar Cup, is that the third one?
We're racking up trophies this year. This is true. We are racking up trophies. Now, if only if another national team could just get one, I would appreciate that. But the beggars won't be choosers today. They shan't be choosers today. I had I'm gonna find this because I screen grabbed this tweet of mine from years, and it's always a fun one. Da, 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 da. Oh yes, there's the youth tournament youth pledge, which is I'll remain calm and measured every time anything happens. The tournament is a snapshot of a group of players. It does not reflect all youth of that country or players selected that represent said nation. A win doesn't mean we're winning the World Cup, nor does a loss mean that we're doomed as a soccer nation. Some players will break out. That's all right. For others, the stage might be too bright. That's also all right. Remember, development isn't linear, but there's always here for the moments.
Did you work on
And
that with your therapist? I'm very proud of you.
This was August last year. This was August last
Bro.
year, right before the thing, and right before that one. Yeah, which is true. And the thing, speaking of like yelling at Twitter, my last thing is, at some point we're evaluating a country's development in a sport based off 10 days of competitive matches. We've essentially hit print screen on a rough draft and are grading it like it's the final essay. Youth tournaments are just that. We got to remember that development is not linear. Who they are now is not who they will be in 4 years, let alone 4 months. But it is a cycle, and it still circles back to opportunities, research, and availability. I'm looking forward to what Canada does now. I'm hoping this is the first of many. Um, and I'm really excited for what this can mean. But we have a showcase league now where girls can aspire to. We have teams that are winning things, which the country now sees. Now it's continue to build on it. And if 2026 is going to be anything like 2025 has been, I'll see you on the stage as we win the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying stage, because we're just
Yes.
racking up trophies, and
Let's
that
go.
is all.
I'm so
AC,
inspired right now.
honestly, I'm just happy. I'm just
I'm happy for you.
it's the thing I tweeted out. I was like, my national teams have brought me joy. Thank you. It's just thank you. It was just so joyful to have. But with that being said, you have your newsletter that is out already. Is there anything else that's coming up for you in the next couple months that we should keep our eyes peeled out for?
No, just the usual. I'm kind of busy. I'm playing soccer myself, so I can't be glued to the TV as much. But I'm catching all the NSL games, so you can see all the NSL coverage. I put out a survey, see whether people want to do that more regularly. So we'll see if I can pull that off or not.
Indeed. Oh, I think that the last important question is, when are you having your return feature on the broadcast? Because
good question. I don't know. I just accept the offer when it comes.
this is why you get your manager to make some phone calls and just say,
Do you want to be
hey,
my manager?
should have you seen my scatterbrain ADHD brain?
Yeah, you know what?
Like I'd love to, but then like I'd book you for something like, hey, so I know you're working right now, but we got a feature on TSN. You just hop on the phone. You're good. You're good. It's like, I'm busy.
Gonna get medical codes going off in the background. I was lucky that it didn't go off on the broadcast because I was at work.
I respect you for that. I respect you for that. All right. This has been a great 27 minutes of just joy. Someone's gonna be mad, but I don't care. We'll live. We'll live. Congratulations, U20s. You guys made us all happy and joyful. And keep up the good work. And for all you who are coming, yeah, I need to stop talking because my mind is now racing on like everything I could say. But nothing but joy for you guys. Enjoy the celebrations. Back to some of you high school and college. And now I just feel old. I'm gonna end this right
Yeah,
here.
that's a good.
Yes, let's just wrap it up.